heard the story about the woman who wasn't there? Hello everyone, welcome to another Geek and Dorks Reviews. I have to apologize in advance for my bloody eye. Too much Halo, I know, I'm sorry. I'll be a good boy next time. The Woman Who Wasn't There. This is a documentary I watched recently. It's pretty short, if I remember right. It's I think it's less than 50 minutes. It's like something that would be on television in an hour format. The director is Angelo Guglielmo, which I tried to pronounce a few times before starting the video. I think I'm pretty close on that. And if you don't know what this is about, let's read the synopsis together. This is from IMDB.com as usual. Out of the ashes of the Twin Towers emerged a group of survivors. They had all been through hell and back, but one survivor in particular stood out as inspirational. Tanya Head. Tanya's devastating story of narrowly escaping death from the 78th floor of the South Tower, badly burned and crawling through carnage and chaos, is one of true courage and a fighting will to survive. But while she made it out alive of one building, her life was essentially taken away by the other. Her fiancé had perished in the North Tower. Tanya's remarkable tale of recovery and loss catapulted her to being the face of the tragedy, earning her the respect of victims' families, public officials like Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and Americans everywhere. Her story quickly traveled through the Survivor Network community, and in 2004 she became president of the World Trade Center Survivors Network, tirelessly working to give the survivors support and a place of prominence in a post-9/11 landscape. But there was one problem with Tanya's story that wouldn't emerge until September 2007, when a New York Times article blew the lid off her seemingly miraculous tale. Absolutely none of it was true. I probably should have gave you a spoiling warning. There is actually a little spoiling? Am I saying that right? My eye starts bleeding and all of a sudden my mouth stops working. There is a spoiler warning at the top of this page. However, considering that the documentary is titled The Woman Who Wasn't There, I'm pretty sure you know where this goes. I really liked this documentary, the way that it told the story. It touches on 9/11, but it's not quite the deep dive that The Falling Man is. The Falling Man, especially the beginning of that, really takes you back to the day of that event. Which is probably a good thing for some people, maybe not a great thing for a lot of us. I mean, those of us that lived through it, it's kind of a raw nerve, and anytime we revisit it, it's kind of hard to look at. This movie is a bit different because it doesn't. There's a little bit of it that seems to be footage from that day, but most of it is about the aftermath. Most of it is about the survivors of it, which is kind of a more positive take or look at this whole thing. Until you discover that this woman that is doing an incredible amount of work for this survivors network wasn't really a survivor. And it just kind of boggles the mind. Why work so hard and hold on to that type of lie? What's the benefit? I mean, admittedly, it put her in some positions where she was able to rub elbows with some big names in New York. Maybe it gained her some sympathy she was looking for in some way. It's really hard for me to understand, though, because I think that she could have contributed to that network being honest about not being a survivor, just being someone that cares enough to help other people. She probably still could have become president. I mean, this woman opened some doors. She helped get the survivors to be able to visit Ground Zero for the first time. She did a lot of amazing things. Except all of it was, it's weird because even though that they're amazing, they're stacked on top of this lie. It kind of breaks my heart in a very strange way, this documentary. But it is really cool to go through the story, and I like how they kind of save, the discovery about her not being there until the end, even though it's in the title, even though it's in the description. They really spell it out almost like a detective story where all of a sudden these weird pieces start adding up and you're like, hold on a second. She's really not there. So here I'm going to give you a bit of a minor spoiler warning. If you're going to check this out, I highly recommend you check it out. It's available, I think I watched it on Hulu if I remember right. It looks like it's also available on Netflix, but it might be falling off of Netflix in April. And this is all in the US, of course. International might be different for you guys. It came out in 2012. Did I say everything on IMDb is a 7? Well, this is a 6.9, according to almost 1,000 votes. I think I'd give it an 8. It was just, it's the right size. It's not too long. You're not sitting there for 2 hours going, oh man, when is this going to end? It's kind of a quick story. There's a lot of personal touches from real survivors. And it's this weird kind of tragedy after the tragedy that these people are all connected to this woman that they kind of look up to, and then they find out that they can't look up to her anymore. It's just this really interesting twist. So at that point, I'm going to end the official review part. I just want to talk a little bit more about this. It's minor spoilers. I think you could listen to this, but if you want the full, not really surprised, but if you want the full experience, I'd say stop the video now, jump onto Hulu or Netflix, and check this out. I think it's really worth your time. That being said, let's continue to Wikipedia. So this woman who was known as Tanya Head in New York, there's a full article on her. Her name is actually Alicia Esteva Head. She is a Spanish woman who claimed to be a survivor of the World Trade Center September 11th attacks under the name Tanya Head. She joined the World Trade Center Survivors Network Support Group, later becoming its president. Sound familiar? Her name was regularly mentioned in media reports of the attacks. In 2007, it was revealed her story was a hoax. Head was not in New York on September 11th, 2011. That's really the point I wanted to get to. She wasn't even in the country. She was actually attending classes in Barcelona. And if you watch the documentary, they do this great interview with people that were like there with her. They have pictures of her registering for these classes. And you come to find out that she comes from kind of an affluent family. She has an arm that is damaged that she said was part of her story about the 9/11 tragedy, and you come to find out that no, she really did that in a car crash where it sounds like she crashed her Ferrari. It is amazing. But of course, I don't know if we should believe that either. I mean, if someone lies like this, how do you know what parts of their story to believe or not? It's really, talk about a brain scratch. But I just wanted to cover that. She wasn't even there. She was in classes in Barcelona. And since there was something weird, she left abruptly. In February of 2008, an anonymous email was sent from a Spanish account to members of the World Trade Center Survivors Network claiming that Head had committed suicide. Once again, I have no idea if we should believe any of that. This is a woman that seems to like to manipulate people. But it's this really weird twist. I still have to go back to it. It's so strange to me that she manipulated people in an effort to help them and then did all this awesome work to help their cause. It's such a strange place. When I think of someone manipulating people, I think of to their own benefit, that they're doing something to either take money or, like I was saying earlier, maybe she wanted sympathy or fame or those kind of things for herself. But this woman did so much work for other people. I'm sure it was really hard for the other people in the Survivors Network to even believe that this was true when it came out. But it was. Oh, actually, now that I've read just a little bit more, this is kind of strange because Wikipedia doesn't have this written in a way that flows quite correctly. But I mentioned in February 2008 they got the email she committed suicide. Well, in July of 2012, she was fired from her latest position at Interpartner Assistance, an insurance company in Barcelona, once her employers found out about her ruse in New York. So apparently she did not kill herself in 2008. She got a job and then was fired from it. So what I say, you can't trust these people. Anyway, I hope you check it out for yourself. I think you'll enjoy it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this Geek and Dorks review, and I'll catch you next time on the Geek and Dorks channel. Take care.